We are back at it, but yet again.
Yet again.
We're here.
Yep.
We're ready.
Ready to go.
We were born ready.
I was born ready.
I was born out the womb, ready to go. This week, start of our summer series.
That's right.
We started Hebrews.
Yes, we did.
Pastor Matt brought straight fuego.
Oh, I don't know about that. But it was fun. That's for sure.
Hebrews is dense.
It is dense.
It is a tough read.
Yeah, like every chapter is pretty intense.
Yes.
Yeah, so we're doing Hebrews through the summer, a chapter a week.
Yeah.
And so we won't even be able to cover everything in every chapter, but we're going to take the highlights of each chapter and kind of figure that out, yeah. But first, everybody knows I'm a Broncos fan.
Everyone knows.
And the Broncos just sold the team $4.6 billion.
$4.6 billion.
Billion dollars.
Billion dollars.
Wow.
Wow. Crazy.
Yeah, it was crazy. So I guess the Walton family who owns Walmart.
Dynasty.
So I was looking this up, that the Walton dynasty. So Sam Walton started Walmart. I guess now the kids are there. But they're old now too.
Yeah.
Like they're all grandparents.
Right.
And so should the sale of the Broncos be finalized?
Yep.
Here are the teams that the Walton family will own now in Colorado. The Colorado Avalanche, which is hockey.
Yep.
The Denver Broncos, which is football.
Yep.
The Colorado Mammoth, which is NLL.
I'm going to look it up right now.
It sounds like a lame sport. And then the Denver Nuggets is the NBA basketball, and then Colorado Rapids is MLS. It means that if this goes through, the only team that...
Oh, it's lacrosse.
Oh, it's lacrosse.
I told you.
Yeah, you did.
How did I know?
I don't know. I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
Yeah, the only team they won't own in Colorado that's professional is the Rockies, the baseball team.
The Rockies definitely are having a struggle.
They are having a struggle.
Colorado teams are not known for their skill in their winning potential.
Yeah. So anyhow, as a Broncos fan, I thought that was a big deal.
That is a huge deal.
I bet nobody on, all three of our listeners probably.
All three of them.
Yeah, they probably don't know, but they don't care. Yeah.
Mr. Bradfield is probably making fun of you for...
Oh, probably, yeah.
Yeah. Because he's like, Cowboys rule.
He does. He likes the Cowboys.
Nerd.
Yep.
Gosh, why don't you like a real team?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. Let's see if it goes well. I don't really know.
Who knows what'll happen this next season? Who knows?
Who knows? Yep. Who knows? Yeah. So anyhow, that was breaking news for me. I don't know.
Breaking news segment. Breaking news.
I need a sound effect for that.
We do need a sound.
I have other ones like...
crickets.
Yeah, crickets. That's a good one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Does anybody care about the Broncos? They don't.
That's awkward.
Yeah, it is.
That's.
Yeah. So
Hebrews
chapter 1, baby.
Chapter 1, Hebrews, week 1.
Yep.
And you covered some of the context for the book of Hebrews. And I think like you said before, like the context of the book of Hebrews is really important to actually understanding kind of the flow of Hebrews, the structure of it, some of the language and some of the references that Hebrews kind of uses. Can you kind of go through the context of Hebrews and and the people that it was written for and the time period and all that kind of good stuff?
Yeah, so it's a doctrinal book, right?
Yeah.
So there are two major doctrinal. I think Romans is number one,
right? As
far as like, but a close second is Hebrews, talking about the kind of the Christian faith and doctrine behind it.
Yeah,
and that kind of matters because, when you're trying to walk in a certain way, when struggles come and difficult times come, it's your doctrine that actually holds you through the storms.
That's good.
And so it's really like a code of principles, if you will. Emotionally we can be all over the place. Emotionally we can, we can, things can toss us to and fro, but really it's when what are we anchored to as a person? What are we anchored to keep us through the hard times?
That's good. Yeah.
And so when you go to Hebrews, it's like, okay, this is a book that's really about this. And it's setting up this thing. And in the next few weeks, the general theme of the first half of Hebrews is that Jesus is greater than.
Yeah.
And so he's greater than this, he's greater than that, he's greater than the other thing. And so over the next few weeks, you're going to kind of see different angles in which the author is approaching this so that we can kind of get an idea of like the totality of who Jesus is and the fact that he's greater than these other things. And so when we have these other things in our life, they can get in the way. And so it's kind of about keeping your priorities straight in a sense too, because of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that. And I like how Hebrews is also written to kind of the new Hebrew Christians that were in the area. And so the author is writing to people who's very familiar with the Old Testament.
Yes.
Familiar with Torah, familiar with the prophets, familiar with the law, and all of that. And so many of the references that you see in Hebrews are very Old Testament.
Yep.
And whenever you see those references, it should automatically like, hey, I'm going to read this, and then I need to go back to the actual reference to the part of Torah that it's referencing to kind of get a better understanding of what the author is talking about. Because he talks about angels, priests, prophets. You know, we get characters like Melchizedek, which is such an interesting character in the Old Testament.
Yeah.
So much, mystery and so many questions, like who is this guy? But Jesus is still greater.
Yep. Right. He is.
And so I like how you continually and how you applied it to today's times was, I thought, really genius, because they were comparing it to their times of angels and prophets and Moses and all of that. And Jesus is greater in all of that. But today, what do we kind of put in that same area?
Yeah, well, we do.
We do,
it's something that
absolutely.
we all do. And so we will, and maybe you've had this experience or you've been in this situation, but yeah, you're like, okay, well, I just have a feeling that the Lord is saying this or the Lord is saying that. And so like you have to be able to cross-reference your experiences with the Word of God.
Yes.
Right. And so
That's good.
because sometimes our experiences feel so real.
Right.
But then you got to go and say, okay, it might be really, this is really what it is, but does it contradict the Word of God?
Yeah,
if it
that's
does,
good.
then it's like, well, okay, maybe our experiences aren't there. And so they were chasing angels, and then they were also looking at prophets, and I think we do the same thing. In fact,
Absolutely.
during the last election,
Oh.
the Trump Biden election,
Yeah.
it was difficult, man. Like the amount of people who were like sending me weird prophet stuff about like who's going to be in the office and not in office, and like who's God's man and who's not God's man, and
Right.
and it got real funky there for a little while, and I think people got really caught up in it, which just goes to show that even though they were getting caught up in it in the past, we can still get caught up in it today.
Right.
Yeah, and then angels and spiritual type encounters, and we have TV shows around this. We have TV shows about touched by an angel or angel encounters, and even like different like spiritual stuff that we want to get wrapped up into. And I just think those things can be real, but Jesus is still greater.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it kind of goes back to the signs and wonder sort of thing that is, I think, so crucial to the Christian faith of not worshiping the sign, but worshiping the one who the sign points towards.
Yeah, that's so good.
And this, for example, when you're driving down the highway and it's like Albuquerque in 26 miles, you're not going to get out of your car and worship the sign that says Albuquerque is 26 miles away because you want to get back to Albuquerque. You're going to worship you're trying to get to what the sign is pointing towards. And so a sign is a directional kind of correction that we can employ in our own lives of getting us back to Jesus when it's pointing us back to Jesus, because he's greater than the signs. Yep.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think that's a great analogy with the signs and the pointing and the destination. Yeah. It's outstanding.
And the beautiful thing that you said kind of going into Hebrews is so much of the Christian faith is already paid for. And you were talking about other religions, how you have to earn and you have to fight and you have to strive and all these things. And I remember having a conversation at work, and this one of my coworkers, she was like, hey, I really want to go into like a medium or a spiritual reading or something like that, like tarot cards. And I was like, hey, like I teach middle schoolers and high schoolers how to hear from the Lord. I think we can do the same with you. And
there you go.
And she was like, why do you think that's not a good idea for me to go to the medium? And I was like, well, they're going to give you a spiritual reading, but the thing is, the spirits that they're using to give you the reading are the same ones that are going to torment you after.
Wow.
And it's going to cost you something. But what Jesus has to offer has already been paid for.
Yeah.
And that's the beautiful thing about the gospel. We're not chasing after something that we have to buy.
Yep.
But Jesus has called us his own, and then he's redeemed us. So we're his twice. And so it's like, for example, I don't know if you've ever gotten your windshield replaced, but if you don't go back to the original manufacturer, it's not going to be the same like as an aftermarket. The aftermarket is going to claim, oh, it's the same thing, same quality, all this stuff. But until you go back to the manufacturer, the original creator who knows the car's design best, and who actually knows how to replace and fix so many parts of the car, it's not going to work the way it was designed. Mm-hmm. And so in the same way in our lives, we have to go back to the original manufacturer, the Lord and Jesus, to heal our hurts and to get our theology and our doctrine based.
Yeah. Yeah. That's good. That's really good. Yep. So we talked a little bit about that. We talked, what else we talked about this Sunday?
Idols.
Oh, we did talk about idols.
We did talk about idols.
That wasn't in my notes.
That was not in your notes, but
it was not. I kind of drifted there, and I was like, I don't know if I should go here, and then
there you went.
And then we went there. Yeah. And that's really what it comes down to on our principles, is that if we are getting our priorities out of alignment, then things start to get a little wonky in our life. And so, anything that elevates itself above Jesus is an idol. Mm-hmm. So it really should be like, Jesus at the top, and then other things start to come in place. Mm-hmm. And you have priorities. Like if I have Jesus, I have my wife, my kids, I got a lot of other stuff in my life that falls into those priority things. But it's funny when something that's lower starts to work its way up higher, it starts to really cause friction and turmoil.
Yeah. Right. And I think one of the ways I've heard it described is like the struggle in the work-life balance. And and if you're struggling to find balance, maybe you need to approach it from a different direction. Yeah. And if you're having trouble balancing some things, maybe some priorities need to get put back at their rightful places. Maybe some priorities are out of proportion and need to be kind of stepped back down. And so it's not easy by any means, but I think that's why boundaries are so important, and honest, effective communication, just because we don't have it all figured out. And it is a struggle.
It is. Yep. It is a struggle.
Yeah. I like how when you were talking about idols, you kind of gave very strategic pauses to kind of put the audience on edge. And
yeah, I think, I kind of covered Exodus 30. Oh, is it 32? I think it's 32.
Somewhere in there.
And somewhere in the middle of the chapter, maybe 15, 20, verse 15, 20, somewhere in there. So Moses is up on Mount Sinai getting the 10 Commandments. God himself is carving it into the stone. He's like, this is pretty important. He comes down. He finds all of God's people worshiping a golden calf. And so he was up there a while because it took all the gold from everybody, melted it down, and put it into the shape of a calf.
That takes some time.
Yeah. And so they are like this golden calf. And so he comes down. He's so mad. He breaks the tablets. Like, dude. Like that, I don't know. That wasn't on the tablet. Thou shalt not break tablets. But it should have been. Holy cow. It should
have been.
Yeah, so he breaks the tablets. He gets all kinds of mad. He grind up the golden thing. They throw all the dust on the water, gold dust on the water, and then they make them all drink it. And then the verse just moves on. And you're like, that was kind of random. Like, why did they make them drink it? And so, so then I kind of alluded to the idea that because eventually the gold dust is going to work through the body. Yeah.
And your body doesn't break down gold dust. It's not going to process it.
No. So it's going to come through nice and shiny on the other side.
Yep.
Yeah.
Nice and shiny.
I kind of leaned into that a little bit.
You did.
And I put some pauses in the way I was describing it. And I kept getting a little bit more graphic. And then I raised to the place where people may have thought I was going to use a swear word. Yeah. So, but that was just kind of fun, dramatic play with it.
Yeah.
So
I love that. Your idols are crap.
Yep. Yeah. Shiny crap. That's all it is.
Shiny crap.
That's all it is. Yeah.
That's a nice reframing. And chapter 1 was mainly concerned with Jesus being above the angels.
Yep.
And so, you know, the Bible describes most angelic encounters as the angels having to say, "Do not be afraid."
Right.
So obviously, the angels are some pretty serious mother truckers, right?
Yeah, I mean, they got to be big, scary things. Right?
Yeah, they gotta, you know.
The first words out of their mouth is "Do not be afraid." I mean,
because somebody's terrified. Somebody's, you know,
somebody's terrified. Yeah, somebody's scared. Scared enough to say, "Don't be afraid."
Right. Exactly. Yeah. And so we point to these angelic encounters, whether it be, you know, the angelic encounters with Abraham, with Moses, with, you know, Jacob, with Joseph, with all these people throughout the Old Testament. And then we get to Jesus, right? An angel tells Mary and Joseph, "You're going to have a son." And so we see angels kind of as this messenger role, but as a very important and a very distinguished messenger role.
Yeah.
But then Jesus comes on the scene, and the author, he's paving this point of Jesus is greater than the angels. And so not only the person is greater than the angels, but also the message that he's bringing is way more important than any message that any angel has ever brought before.
Right.
And that's a huge distinction because angels brought very important messages. And so this claim that the author is going to is a big claim.
It is. Yeah.
And he does that on purpose because, I mean, like we've said so many times, it's so easy to drift off of that course.
It is. Yeah.
And so establishing that priority of Jesus is greater and the number one priority in my life. And this is all the reasons why.
Yep.
And not that the justification was necessarily needed, but it's just like, it's almost like a court case.
Right.
On the subject, on the court case of Jesus is greater. Mm-hmm. He's greater than this. He's greater than this. Here's the evidence. Here's the supporting factors. Here's the witnesses. All this stuff. And so I like to frame Hebrews kind of that way.
Yeah, that's a great way to frame it. Yeah. Yeah, so the next few weeks we're going to be talking about all the things that Jesus is greater than. And so, yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I got 10 weeks already done on my notes. So
sick.
Ready to go for the summer, man.
Crazy.
It's gonna be a good summer.
Yeah. And we also had the young adults party.
Oh, yeah, that was fun.
Oh, that was sick.
That was a good time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It started out kind of everyone in their little corner, you know, usually. But then we got some food, and then it started to get a little darker, and the pool started, you know.
All the lights started coming on. And
Yep. And then there was like King of the Hill at the top where we were just pushing each other off. And then there was dunking and Marco Polo, and my nose bled, and it was a great time.
Well, I figured somebody would bleed.
Yeah.
You know, it's just kind of a given.
Right.
Somebody's like, that's how that works.
Youth group party or young adult party.
Yeah.
There's always a chance, bro.
Well, when I saw you all horsing around up top at the King of the Mountain thing, I was like, that's probably going to end badly. So,
yeah. But thankfully, no one got hurt from that.
That's true. No major injuries.
But most of the young adults, like, I was like trying to get out of the water, running away from all the young adults, and they pulled me back and they baptized me.
That's right. In the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit.
Boom.
Yes.
Boom.
Yeah, over and over and over again.
And I was like,
Yeah. That was a fun night.
It was a great night.
We had to do that again.
Some fire burgers.
Yep, the burgers were good. I think next time we do fajitas.
Ooh.
I want some fajitas.
Fajitas are like
griddle.
My favorite Mexican food.
Yeah, I think we can do it. And what I like about burgers and fajitas is that you kind of like a la carte it, and then people kind of build their own.
Exactly.
So you don't have to like be like, well, do you like this or do you not like that?
Are you gluten free?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Thankfully, there was no meat. What was it? Impossible meat?
Yeah, fake meat.
Yeah.
I don't do that. No.
It's just
if you don't want to eat meat, that's fine. You can eat everything else we got. But yeah. No, I like that style because the assembly line side of it is
genius.
People can kind of do their thing. So yeah.
I remember Amber calling mochi moochi. I was like, what is a moochi?
Oh.
You know, it's like the Japanese dessert. It's like the weird. I was like, mochi? She's like, yeah, moochi. I was like, Amber.
That's funny. That's funny. Mochi, whatever.
Tomato.
Just shut up and eat it.
Tomato, potato, right?
Hey, yeah. Tomato.
Tomato, potato.
It's tomato, potato. That's a little different.
That's why I'm saying Moochie and Mochi is a little different.
It may be. Is there a Moochie thing out there that I'm not aware of?
I don't know. Maybe there is. Maybe there
a
is.
Slight mispronunciation can cause a lot of embarrassing times for people.
Very embarrassing for all of us.
Yeah, really could be. Yeah, it could be.
Yeah.
Yep.
So stay tuned for more activities.
Yep.
We got a summer chock full of stuff. We have youth lock-in this weekend.
Yeah.
It's going to be a blast.
Yeah, it should be really good.
And we are so excited for what is to come in this Hebrew series.
Yes. I think you have one of the weeks, don't you?
I do have one of the weeks. I have week 7.
Okay, week 7.
I have week 7 on July 10th.
I'm excited about that.
I am ecstatic. I am going on. So there's summer camp, there's my vacation, and then there's preaching. I get home Saturday the 9th to preach on the 10th.
There you go. That's right.
Yeah.
You're ready to go.
So we are action-packed this summer. You don't want to miss it. Make sure you stay up to tune with our updates on here.
That's right.
Catch the sermons online and check us out in person.
That's right, because it's getting rowdy.
It's getting rowdy, and we're not going to take it down all summer long.
We're not. Yep.
It's going to be
good.
a party.
That's right.
We can't wait to see you these next weeks. You have a good one.
We're out.